3, 2.
You will bow down before me, Jor-El. I swear it. No matter that it takes an eternity, you will bow down before me. Both you, and then one day.
Zeitgeist Zealots. Hey everyone,
Matt.
welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. I'm Forrest.
I'm Major.
And I'm Robbie.
And I'm Tip.
And if you've never watched Zeitgeist Zealots or listened before,
welcome.
A podcast of guys who've known each other a long time, and we
Cheers.
talk about mainly just TV shows we don't like. But I think there was like one TV show we do like, and like another one we don't like as much. But we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about Halo,
So mysterious.
and then X-Men '97, and maybe Invincible at the end. But I mean, Major, do you want to add anything to the intro? We talk about TV shows, movies.
No, and then just we hit up some news, which we should probably just jump in right away, guys. Make sure to like the video and add a comment. It really does wonders for the algorithm. We just hit this wall, so we need more engagement from you guys.
That 500 wall.
It's a son of a bitch. Please comment. You can just say, "Hey, shitty audio quality," because there's someone has an elephant playing in the background. We're okay with that. Let us know how we can do better as a podcast. We love you guys.
So really quick, Major, before you get into it, we're getting into news. I don't know. I just want to break in with this. What I sent out, that Chance Perdomo, great actor from Gen V.
Heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. Literally, motorcycle accident. They're not releasing much info about it. And it's pretty crazy because he just bought this motorcycle 11 days ago.
Damn.
And got in an accident, and so just got to get a quick shout out. Great actor, had so much potential, and kind of sucks.
Yeah, he was in Gen V and Star Wars. I believe. 27, too young. I think he's upcoming, or maybe he was a voice actor. But yeah, I saw he had some Star Wars credits.
Sabrina show apparently before Netflix, Sabrina, that I had never saw. But he was on Gen V. We talked about Gen V a few months ago. So now it's like he's gone. So, but so I guess some of the other news you had.
Well, and terrible segues. Sebastian Stan is not going to be appearing in the next Captain America movie. Not that anything's wrong with him. He's alive and healthy. Just not the direction they're going. So if you want Captain America to be even worse than it was before, go ahead and get rid of the last good character from that franchise series.
I think this is one of those movies that wasn't able to survive the overhaul, or was kind of like too far done before they could because they're doing an overhaul at Marvel. But I think they realize what they're doing isn't working, and they need to make some creative changes and get some the goodwill back from the fans. And I'm just thinking Captain America is not one of those movies that's going to do that, and they didn't really have enough. Too much had already been completed before they could go in and fix it. So, hey, it could still be good, but I'm guessing this is before the creative overhaul. But hopefully, maybe Thunderbolts will be better. I think that's just started filming.
Do you think they should have Batgirled it? Do you think they should have just taken, because they're doing reshoots and it's going to take a whole year. It's delayed, or it's delayed a year, so the reshoot's probably 3 months. Should they have just, when the first draft came out and everyone hated it, should have just been all right, guys, tax credits, and then moved on?
They could have bat-winged it.
Well, you said at the very end, Captain Sam Wilson just takes off his Mission Impossible mask. He's Steve Rogers the whole time.
Oh, God.
I'm sure that wouldn't piss anyone off.
Well, who will be taking off the mask anytime soon? Matt Reeves in a James Gunn supporting role. Allegedly, according to sources at Comic X Book on X, there's a war at DC Studios. Sources has told him that James Gunn is fighting Matt Reeves because he wants the Batman Part 2 to be canon in the DCU, but Reeves refuses. Apparently, Gunn made some unsolicited rewrites to include Superman. Reeves is leaving the project is a possibility. So this is just being reported. What do you guys think?
We knew this was gonna happen.
First is having issues. I'm amazed by this. I've
Yeah.
never heard of anything DC product wise
Well, I think
having
James
issues in
Gunn
the
should have
last
been more
2 decades.
focused. His focus should have been on like making every other DC character that isn't Batman like marketable and interesting, and really just should be like
And
trying
just
to lock
making
down
another one.
good directors
So-
and writers. for
I
those
disagree.
characters
I disagree
rather than, like,
completely.
rather than like
So,
being Batman involved.
So I'm gonna ask you. All right, we have Batman, we have Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash, and then
Green
when
Lantern.
it comes to
Green
DC universe, it gets kind of hazy as to like who would I really focus on after
Who would
that?
everyone care about?
I think Teen
Hmm.
Titans,
You know?
since they're essentially the X-Men of the DC universe. Because
You
I know in the
know,
'80s, like when I think Uncanny X-Men was like just dominating the sales charts. Like Teen Titans was like the only, I guess, title that DC had that could compete with them.
Well, I only ask this because I feel like DC has the exact opposite problem of what Marvel has.
I'd agree.
And
Mhm.
Marvel is literally the only reason why we had Iron Man and Captain America and these first few movies that came out for the Marvel Cinematic Universe is because we're like, hey, we have these cheap rights, we're scraping the bottom barrel with these random characters, let's make them big. Whereas
Well, we
DC,
would've-
they're like, we have these big characters, let's try to make them bigger. If that
Well, I
makes
think
any
we would
sense.
eventually
Yeah,
we would
mhm.
have eventually gotten like Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man without Marvel Studios, because basically just like Hollywood was like start with the most successful, which was X-Men, then Spider-Man, then Hulk, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and they just kept going down in terms of popularity.
No.
And
You're
like
skipping
Iron
over.
Man,
You're skipping
Ghost
over
Rider?
the one character that saved Marvel Studios.
Spider-Man.
One of the most
Who?
random characters,
Which one?
and that's
Who?
1996 Blade.
Oh,
If Blade was
Blade.
not successful,
Oh,
then Marvel, Cinematic Universe doesn't exist. That's just kind of my counter argument.
Oh,
we
thank you,
use
Patton
a lot of
Oswalt.
these. Yep.
Well, I think
We use a lot of
Blade-
these minor characters in Marvel Universe, and we try to make them successful. Whereas DC, we just milk the crap out of Batman. We have had how
think-
many Batman origin stories?
I do think it's cheaper to try
Yeah.
to make a Blade movie than a Thor, Captain America, or Iron Man movie.
I
I,
mean,
think Blade lends itself
Robert-
to like more of a cheaper budget.
Robert Pattinson has a Batman movie. All right,
Yeah.
or whatever his
that
name
sounds-
is.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh, you know,
It might be his last.
Once again, though, what characters in the DC universe do I care about outside of, And I will answer that really quick, and that is
The question-
Peacemaker. Why aren't we making more Peacemaker
Right.
episodes?
Yep.
oh, yeah.
That show got me so interested in the DC
Mhm.
universe, and
I
the
like
fact that they're
that,
scrapping
yeah.
it to focusing on Batman and Aquaman and Flash is so maddening.
Yeah, but Ezra Miller is still the Flash in that universe. Because remember he showed in the
Oh,
last
yeah.
episode.
As a
Oh,
not
hey,
a rapist,
he got-
Miller.
Oh,
His voice-
I thought we loved Ezra Miller.
No.
Well, his voice got recast in the
Boo.
last episode of
He's
Invincible.
so funny.
Well, you know he got recast in Invincible, right? He was playing that character D.A. Sinclair.
Yep, he did.
And
just
they
Oh,
get
I was
recast.
seeing articles about that.
Yeah, so I think he's
Matt, I have to completely disagree with you there. I think DC.
we need more Batman.
What
because
we
they
need,
did
right?
not-
Yeah, unfortunately, what the DC universe needs, it's not what it wants, it's what it needs, is a solid 3. Right? You need to establish your Superman, your Batman, your Wonder Woman, and then you leave it to the creative geniuses and directors to give you your Peacemakers and your other obscure characters. But you can't start the universe off. You can't start the DC universe off with the same way they did Marvel with a obscure character called Iron Man, right? They can't do it with one of their third tier characters.
Yeah, I agree with it, but my other issue is since 1989, when Michael Keaton is Batman, how many times have we rebooted and done an origin story of Batman?
How many times have you
Less
seen
than Spider-Man.
tits? Let me ask
Right.
each and one of you. How many times have you
lot.
seen boobs? Do you plan on seeing boobs again? Would you see boobs tomorrow? Would you pay $10 to see boobs in IMAX? Okay, I
Not
close
that
my
bad.
case.
So the other issue
Dude.
too is that the
Over and over
new
again.
the sequel to Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, which I really love. Is that
Trash.
considered part of this DC universe, or we're still treating
It's
it kind
whatever
of
James
separately
Gunn.
off in
I
its
don't know.
own?
Oh, it's coming.
James
Don't
Gunn-
worry. It'll come
No,
in.
So the new one is going to have Harley Quinn and introduce Harley Quinn. I think it's like Lady Gaga or something.
Lady Gaga.
I'm too old to remember this shit. But I like that, but I don't really know right now, as a fan, whether or not that's considered part of the actual DC universe continuity, or if that's just being treated as like the separate kind of entity. And that's another
It's still being
problem I think
treated
that the DC,
separate right now.
yeah, but that's another problem that the DC universe has, is that it's like, are these movies part of this, or is it just kind of like
Right.
these one-offs? And so it's just a lot of disorganization, I feel.
Hey, you know what
Yeah,
they
I mean, I
should
think-
have done? Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut
That
you
is
off, Torst.
true. There is no unity
well, it
in the
just-
universe.
Well, it seems like people are just getting tired of the shared universe trope at this moment because, like, the Marvel movies, the last three have been bombs, except for Guardians. I mean, Ant-Man 3 was a bomb. Marvel's was the bomb. Not the bomb, was a bomb.
Yeah. But again, I think it's
and,
a quality issue. I don't think there's
Yeah,
actual
100%.
superhero
Saying-
fatigue. I think we'd still be all on board because look, we're about to gush over how
yeah.
good Invincible is. They're superheroes. The
Yeah,
problem
I don't
isn't
think
the
it's fatigue
superheroes.
either.
Look, dude, I'm
I
not
was wondering
watching.
that it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not watching TV. I'm not rolling my eyes. Oh, here's another laser beam. Oh, here's another
it's good,
super
I'll
buff
watch
guy. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
a superhero
I
fatigue.
mean, it's especially with like Ant-Man. You bring up Ant-Man Quantumania.
It's a shitty movie
The fact
fatigue.
that they released a new version of it after they released the movie, because
The
the
Kingless, the
production
Kingless
quality.
version.
Yeah, no,
What?
the
What they
effects.
take it?
The
So
CGI
the effects
thing.
when the CGI when they first released it was so poor in theaters.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why they bombed. And this goes back to what we discussed 20 podcasts ago about that article that came out about what's really happening behind the scenes at Marvel, and how it's just not working because they're rushing all this shit and they're constantly rewriting shit.
Mhm.
I think it's just them trying to like pump
Well,
out
and the
too much
amount of-
product too quickly.
The amount
Yeah.
of stuff they're putting out
Yeah,
on Disney Plus
quickly.
that might have just
Look at
they were
Invasion,
putting
but
too much into it and they
No.
don't have enough.
Stop
Which
that.
which is why
Dude,
which
stop.
is why I'm amazed that DC hasn't been more successful, because Marvel you can point at and be like, hey,
How
you're
hard?
doing too much.
How hard is
You're-
it?
Matt, I
you know, I
agree.
I did
they're,
like
they're doing
Loki.
quantity over quality.
Yep.
Quantum over
But
quality.
No.
DC
Quality
is not doing anything. DC's not doing quality nor quantity.
Guys, you cannot
They're
be
doing
this
shittily.
sympathetic for Disney Plus. That gives them too much rope. You need to hang these fuckers up by the neck and hold them accountable the way they are. Look, you telling me that this was 5 Disney Plus shows
Yeah,
was
maybe.
too much for Disney to handle? It was too much for them to juggle? They have like 15 international parks that they manage every single day, and they're not all on fire. They're not all trash, right? Like they have multiple
You
Disney
get the right
movies
people in there.
in production at the same time, right? They're a multi-billion-dollar company, right? In Hollywood, and we saw the writer strike. You know exactly how many writers there are out there. No. It is not that hard to hire 100 of the best writers in Hollywood, of the best for comic book movie superheroes, right? And you put them in teams of 10. And then you work on 10 fucking shows. And then, like, you've got Kevin Feige, your almighty leader, and you guys are all working. Like, it's not that hard. It's really, like, companies every single day thrive with, like, communication and leadership. This is just dog trash writing. And then someone reads the script and for some reason says okay to the script, and then it just no one says no along the process. But like I think saying that they couldn't handle it, the quantity issues too much, no, because they've used that excuse before, right? Remember with Star Wars, they said this is too much Star Wars and we need to do less Star Wars. Remember back in 2019, Bob Iger, before he left the first time, with the poor
Little
reception.
less Star Wars.
Right, exactly. With the poor fan reception for Rise of Skywalker, said that they're gonna reel it
poor
back and
Star
focus
Wars.
on quality over quantity. And then what happened? Did we like anything that came out after Rise of Skywalker? I mean, the first season of The Mandalorian, but then
Andor.
yeah, and then three episodes out of Andor, the ones that we could all stay awake through. We loved it.
No,
Great
all
stuff.
Andor. Fuck off. Andor is great.
So since we're talking about like great sci-fi shows, we should probably
Andor.
change the subject
Haven't
and
seen
talk
that.
about Halo.
Oh, I think that's a
Video
great
one.
segue for the last bit of news, and
That's
it's
segue.
it's Robbie's
Forrest.
news, and we would skip right into Halo, but this really is really
Halo.
important, and it's important to all of our listeners.
Wait, which
Uh,
one?
And that's Microsoft's initiative to keep you Microsoft.
Oh yeah.
You guys heard about this,
The
Robbie? Can you
company
explain?
after
Don't make
Can you
don't
explain
make
to
my
the
micro
Oh,
hard
the-
right now, Major.
to the non-gamers at home a little bit what's going on with our female
Yeah,
video
you're
game
talking about when
characters?
Yeah, apparently Microsoft put out a thing that is urging developers to avoid pervy
Voluptuousness.
female characters or anything that's exaggerated a little bit.
So if-
Oh, like boobies?
Yeah, boobs, cleavage, all of that. So like if you were playing the
oh,
last,
and you know Japan ain't gonna
No video
they,
game
they ain't gonna
characters.
get rid of that.
No video game characters can be hotter than Bill Gates' wife. That was
oh,
the exact
R-
one.
R.I.P..
I can't remember what
Oh,
the name of the last big game that
Forrest.
came out on PlayStation.
Dirty
They kept showing
So-
pictures of.
What you're saying is Microsoft can no longer do JRPGs.
Yeah.
yes, basically.
So Matt,
Well, there'll be an edited
before-
version.
Since we're talking about video games, and this one show had a video game in it called Three Body Problem. Did you watch that one?
On Netflix,
seen
I
it
haven't
yet?
seen that yet. I heard it's
I
good.
have read the books. I am trying to finish the third book before I start watching the show.
Yeah, because
but I'm
apparently they
super
adapt
excited
the
about
stuff. Okay, because apparently
it.
it's,
They adapt it out of order apparently. So
and they don't whitewash the characters, but they westwash them. Like, because the show takes place in the UK, but the books takes place in China. So I think China's sort of the actual country China is upset about that.
You could just have an
But fun.
adaptation. That's
I guess
so...
I'll have to watch it and tell us.
I'm sorry. Wait, did America westwash The Office?
well, the,
From-
the
from
Chinese
to the
have
overseas?
thin-ass motherfucking skin.
Like
That
is
is fact.
Star
It
Wars
was
is
all
Star
white
Wars westwashing Seven Samurais? Like what are we talking about here? We have been taking entertainment from other cultures and producing them in our own homelands or wherever money is available from the production company and tax write-offs are available, and that involves casting people and hiring people in the local area. So that's the dumbest thing I've ever
adapting
heard.
the book Shogun and setting it in like Alabama. So that's the equivalent.
Well,
Yeah,
that
wait,
would make sense.
No, wait. Forrest, I'm writing this script. You and I we're doing Alabama Shogun.
Wait,
Okay.
is that just
This is
Shogun
gonna
with
be a
accents and shotguns
Dude,
instead of
Alabama
samurai
Shogun
swords?
would be hilarious. We
I
are
would
doing
watch
this.
it. I would 100% watch it.
Copyright it. You know,
I'll edit this out of the
That's
podcast.
What's the equivalent
Keep
of a
this idea
samurai
for
in
you guys.
Alabama, though, Matt?
Got to be a moonshiner with like a pistol. I don't know, like a 6-hour P226.
Oh, really?
Or
Is
something.
there like the 7 ways of Bushido for moonshining?
Yeah,
Well-
it's moonshining and it's guns. So
Oh, so basically just my script for 21st century moonshine all over again, but set in Alabama.
It's
South
called an
Carolina.
adaptation, and
With
if
a
Michael
sense
Bay
of
wants
honor.
to buy it, we'll turn him into Transformers. But yeah, that's what you do. You toss around a script in Hollywood. Someone likes it. They pay you a
You
little
would
bit of
think
money. They
meth-
change the names, and they move on.
You would think meth would be like their biggest export rather than moonshine, but I don't know. What state makes
no.
most moonshine?
You know that
Alabama
where
or North
like
Carolina?
they're like all the houses burned down, but we rebuild it really quickly. That would be the meth. So the meth houses.
Oh, burn
they
all
burn
the
down really
houses
quickly,
down, guys.
But we rebuild the meth houses quickly. There you go.
How sad.
We already
how sad
have a
is it that
great
So
show.
the equivalent for a samurai in Alabama is a meth head. Okay, great.
Wait, can you guys then do a spin-off where it's Dune in
Yeah.
Alabama and like meth runs the world and the only place that makes meth is Alabama?
It's
And
the spice.
yeah, and it's
And then,
it's that Cajun
And-
spice.
and
Oh, that's
a giant-
Louisiana.
and
But
a
yeah.
giant,
So no,
worms,
no.
those giant roaches.
No. So we will do book like 4 or 5 of the Dune series where it starts getting super weird and creepy and the incest starts getting involved.
So it becomes
There
a
you go.
worm.
So
Okay.
yeah, where he becomes a worm, and when they have to impress upon each other, and you're like, wait, he's supposed to be 9 years old, so they're impressing on a 9-year-old, and this is getting kind of creepy.
I mean, the
Reading your
Baron
brain
wanted to
curve,
bang his
yep.
nephew in the first book.
Bow chicka bow wow. Oh, I have to say, I recently rewatched Dune 1. Now that I have watched literally tens of hours of content online learning about the Dune franchise, the Dune series, the Dune book by Herbert, Dune 1's a masterpiece, right? It's super confusing if you don't exactly know exactly what's happening in every single
I feel like I should
scene.
rewatch it because I have watched some YouTube videos.
It's so good.
Like,
and then
just some little basic run through of the story.
it's fantastic. Now that you like,
It's
once you understand
pretty
like what's
interesting.
happening,
That's
it's a
what
beautiful
made
story.
me think about. Yeah, that's what made me think about looking into reading the books.
Have you seen Dune 2
Just
yet?
read the first one.
Yeah.
I went to see it
who
last
that,
weekend.
that saw it the other day?
I saw it yesterday.
So
I mean,
after this,
it's a good Easter movie.
We have
I
to get
haven't seen
involved
it.
on the discussion. So.
We'll do
It's
Dune
an Easter
Talks.
movie because it takes place in a desert. There's a
Oh
Messiah.
yeah, do a Dune episode.
Dune Talk, that'll be great.
Yeah,
But
Dune Part 2.
Dune Part 2. But first, we gotta get the season 2 finale of Halo. So let's dive right
Yeah,
on
we've been
in.
waiting to do this for a while now. So.
Overall thoughts? Do they
Goodness.
stick the landing? Robbie, what do you
It
think?
was better.
I
it was
liked
better
it,
than
yeah.
the 5th episode. of the
Oh,
season.
and I didn't see that coming with the lady in red.
Oh, I know.
Lady
I thought she was
in
Forerunner.
wondering who-
She's Flood.
I wasn't sure about the Forerunner idea, but it was interesting.
Who's the
But
lady in red?
I actually didn't guess.
She's the
well,
Flood.
We could. Okay,
Oh,
I
the
wasn't sure
hag?
if we were throwing it out there yet.
Yeah, we're going
Oh,
balls.
hag.
This has been out for 2 weeks, guys. Thanks for joining to the episode.
We're
Sorry,
a little late to it anyway.
Sorry,
so-
we're a little bit late,
Well,
but that
you
allows us to
probably
go
seen it.
straight into
We didn't
spoilers.
We didn't think they were going to introduce the flood this season, but they flooded this episode with flood.
Oh yeah, it was most of the
They
episode.
flooded our
It was-
expectations.
I liked how they just it was slowly
Drowning in
introduced and
flood.
then all of a sudden it's just everywhere. So-
Right? Oh, so we'll get into
Like a
it.
flood.
Like a flood, right? Just it's a little trickle, and then the floodgates open.
There's
But-
the whole reason they like sacrificed of whatever was in there to hold on to the last bit of flood.
Where's Noah when you need him?
But why do you think they
Crickets.
kept that bit of flood DNA,
The
like
spore?
last bit of flood after they wiped out everything? However
Uh,
long
Useful
ago
for
it was.
science.
Yeah,
Right.
hubris.
Scientists because scientists
Yeah.
in pop culture franchises are always evil.
Yeah, the Forerunners are
They're
supposed to be
always,
like
like-
super advanced.
They're always
Yeah.
like for
Scientists in a
scientists,
way.
but they have to keep this dangerous thing that could kill
I mean,
everyone.
think about it. Even if we could, let's go back 4 years to the very date. So the end of March, early April, right? And we're dealing with this C18+1 virus. If we had the option to completely eradicate that off the planet, scientists would, but they'd still keep a little bit. Some asshole would still
Yeah,
keep a
for
vial
sure.
somewhere. Yeah.
Somebody's like, we can't get rid of this.
So
Well, I think
I
like
can
some
I can see them
scientists who
do that
actually-
too.
You gotta find like in like these popular media franchises like Alien or what have you, Halo, like because in Halo, Aliens, like the guy who was on Mad About You wanted to keep a piece of the alien spore for study,
Right.
even though it was like extremely dangerous, and like any other scientist, would
God,
just be
how-
like, this is
how,
freaking
like,
dangerous. I need to
How
destroy this."
like Halsey's expression when every time she saw that thing, even after it was revealed what it was,
Dude, mind blowing, right?
unbelievable.
Just sheer
That's
awe
right.
of
I mean, if
its
you just look at
capabilities.
if she's just straight looking at the science about it and not just the
I mean,
impending
she's-
doom on the way.
she's fully autistic. I mean, that's 100% what's going on here. She's a genius. She has zero social skills whatsoever. And then like people are like, there's about to be just be-
everyone's dying around
yeah.
her and just, oh my god, look at
and she's like, oh my god, look how it's spreading. Oh, it's so
Her-
cool,
her
so
daughter
pretty.
tried to talk
Somebody's
to
gotta
her
keep it
like,
together.
you see what's happening right now.
Right.
Tried to talk.
And
Let's
then
talk
she
about
gets
something we
frozen,
didn't
so-
see, and that's at the beginning of the episode. We open up with the Master Chief talking to someone off camera, off
Oh
screen,
yeah.
in a dark room. And dude, my heart of hearts, I knew it was Guilty Spark 343, but I just prayed the entire episode. I was like, please, his voice is so not Guilty Spark's voice.
Yeah, it makes you kind of miss the Guilty Spark from the game.
Yeah, I understand
Well,
why
they
they
got
didn't
Cortana back. They
use.
got-
I'll see what they do with it, but
Yeah.
the voice.
It's
is just not
iconic.
him.
It's so iconic. Like I get like not using the voice because then you couldn't do the reveal because everyone watching by now is the only like the Halo
Everybody would
game,
know.
yeah, the Halo game. So yeah, as soon as you hear the voice, you'd be like, "Oh, Guilty Spark!" So you wouldn't be able to do the reveal. But like that reveal wasn't really
Like
worth
when
it.
you hear Cortana, you know what's going on.
right,
I'm glad they kept Cortana's voice at least.
Not her voluptuousness, her curvatures. Unless they
It's
just like,
Microsoft.
they just like scan Bill Gates' wife's body and then put
Throwback.
Cortana's face and how that way it'll be.
You know,
PC.
what else they're
No pun
scanning?
intended.
They're not getting, or you know, what else they are getting rid of.
Child soldiers, I guess.
Spartan
Because they're
threes.
If you can imagine.
Oh yeah.
Right, so Kai Perez and the Spartan 3s are getting ready to launch when their ship explodes from behind. I'm not sure where that bullet came from, but that was a great little twist. They're all worried about like jumping out the back of the
Well,
ship.
had no going back now.
Yeah, and then boom, yeah. But that was
Riding this out.
I thought it was a good scene. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
Perez lived surprisingly.
they almost had a really cool scene where the alien mothership showed up and they do like the panning over a headshot and it like invokes feelings of Star Wars or Spaceballs with just like,
It's
how big
it
and
is when you're that
magnificent.
close.
Well,
Right.
speaking of ripping off Star Wars, they literally, I think, what was her name? Not Kai. Who's
Kai.
the female Spartan? Kai.
Per-
She
Perez-
pulled
Kai.
a Admiral Halsey from
She did.
Last
Drove
Jedi.
straight into it.
Oh,
Yeah. So like Halo's ripping off one of the worst Star Wars movies.
Yeah, can you
Obviously,
say
it's
ripping
gonna
off? Especially with Star Wars, because Star Wars is just a giant ripoff. And we've already talked about Dune. And what that is a kamikaze, which is a Japanese thing, which is where Seven Samurais is from. So if anything, Star Wars is ripping it off more from Japanese culture.
Halo's ripping off Dune, obviously.
Dune, obviously.
So what else happened? Kai's dead, so I guess John is officially the last Spartan now.
Yes.
I mean,
Are you
even
happy?
Riz is still
Are
alive.
you happy now? Oh, she's no longer a
This
Spartan.
isn't what I wanted. Not like the was Switch saying Matrix. Not like this. Not like this. I mean, Riz is still alive technically, and Soren's still alive, so he's not really the last Spartan.
No.
but
No, make
he's the
more.
last operating official UNC designated Spartan. So Turner's like, there, he's the last Spartan. Are you happy? Technically.
Let's just get this out of the way. Let's do the whole Quan Soren bullshit thing.
I completely forgot she was in the. Well, I guess she talked to the Flood Lady. That was
Yes.
really like her only scene, and I guess no more Soren's wife.
that was
the
interesting
most
how
popular
just like
character.
all the flood just stop while she's chatting.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's not-
right?
So that lady was the grave
That,
mine.
yeah, oh
I
yeah,
guess?
that was when you learn who she really is. Was
Yeah,
right
she's
there
basically
for sure of who it was.
Words.
Gravemind Halo. Did you play Halo, Matt? Remind the audience at home.
Of
And
the
me.
grave
So,
mind.
I played the first two, and I actually just downloaded Halo Infinite, or whatever the new one
Woo!
is on my computer. And I
Ooh,
want to get back
good.
into
Oh yeah,
it,
it's
but
free.
I am, not up to date
First-
on the
Oh.
current.
First two are the best.
know.
I mean, first two are the best games in my opinion.
You're
Third one was
You're such a big nerd, Matt. I would honestly probably say you'll get
Read the
more
books.
enjoyment from the books. They are very well written. The Fall of
The whole
Reach.
background
Onyx,
of his
yeah.
his rise being a Spartan.
And
all the
they're
training
brisk.
is
They were written
really
for
interesting.
they're good, intelligent books from what I remember
So they're
20 years
fluff?
ago. But
well,
they were
for
they're written for 13 to
yeah.
15-year-olds, right? So you can literally read an entire thick paperback in like a weekend, like with kids.
So
And it's
I will
funny,
say
like-
this. I think my big issue with the games was that I loved the single player storyline. I was just not a big fan. I suck at first person shooters. So when it became really heavily multiplayer,
Right.
just can't do it.
Yeah. You got
Well,
old
it's funny
kid.
'cause
I hear you.
people-
Happens to the best of
People
us.
love the first book, The Fall of Reach, but they don't like the second book, The Flood, because people complain. The complaint was, you can call it a complaint, that it was too similar to the game,
Oh,
or was basically just pretty much what this was intended to be, a novelization of the game. So
right.
the first 3 books, I guess, are good. And I guess that book, Ghosts of Onyx, was adapted for this season too, with the Spartan Threes and Ackerson.
Yeah.
So is Ackerson going to come back
read
next season?
Onyx too. I think
guess
so.
the Indian-
He's supposed to be important in the books.
Well, the evil Indian admiral will not be. She's evil because she's
Oh, Perengowski?
bad
She was
decision. Yeah.
I mean,
Eaton.
not good this episode, but acting wise, great acting, right? She was like, John, you must. I'm not doing the accent. John, you have to get to the Halo.
Yeah,
Don't do the accent. And then like John
Get to the chopper.
Berenkowski's telling John to stop, and the ship doors are closing behind him. Like that was like a really cool scene.
Yeah, well, she definitely acted like she was being eaten alive. Well,
Yes, I see a bitch. McKee and Cortana talk, and McKee steps on Cortana's flash drive, killing her. Wink, wink. That's right.
not.
Let's see.
Yeah, so it seems they're just
Kai
like,
and Perez were
triple
pretty
down.
cool. I thought they were pretty cool without being girl bosses this episode, right? Like it wasn't overt, it wasn't in your face. But like Kai grabs Perez and Perez grabs dual kneelers, right? And then Kai's just grabbing Perez, and the Perez
that
like,
was cool.
"Ah!" And I'm like, yeah, like this is cool. Like this is a good scene.
I like that.
I mean, like if you go back and you look again, there wasn't like really anything for her to shoot at, but like the scene was really cool. I think it could afford like the elites to see the elites that she was shooting at, but it was a cool looking scene.
Well, when they were filming it, she was just shooting at golf balls, right?
Probably
Golf
green
balls and
seats.
sticks. Yeah.
And then, so Kai's about to stab the computer with the flash drive when they get saved by the Master Chief. Because if you remember, the flash drive turns the the hyperdrive of the ship into basically a giant bomb in space.
Yeah.
In
Yeah, but
space.
have a little bit more of a explosion than they thought it would be.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
a
there's
big
no air, there's
explosion.
no oxygen in space, so flames
Now,
are
here,
really...
let me ask you this. I want your opinions. Guys listening, comment in the comment section down below. Tell me if you can remember any times. But I think this is literally the first time in 2, maybe 3 years that we've covered on this podcast, or that I've seen on TV, where a man actually saves a woman. And so I just wanted to just give a big shout out to some old school heroism, because John fucking Master Chief isn't leaving anybody behind. He goes back for Cortana, but at the moment we're talking about how like he's going back to save Key and Perez and Kai and Perez. Very cool, right? Honestly, I see you. I see you, Halo, trying to be based. Season 3, let's do this.
More McKee and more Quan.
Oh yeah, we got Halsey and Cryo now.
I'm pretty sure she was like, write me out of the show, please.
Bring me back.
They're literally putting her in storage.
She's like, bring me back when they actually get to the Halo. But we do actually get to the Halo. And it was McKee and Arbiter and Master Chief on Cortana. And then there's Halo.
And it was
And then there's
magical.
you and me and Robbie and Forrest and Tiff. And like, I was like, oh, like, dude, is this? I'm getting like 13-year-old goosebumps again. Like, this is time. This is the closest thing to time travel the CIA will probably ever let us get our hands on.
What did y'all think of the sword battle between Arbiter and Master Chief that we finally got?
Pretty
Cool.
great.
Cool.
He kills Arbiter. I didn't see that coming. I thought they
Yeah,
were
I didn't
gonna
see that coming either.
It was just like,
because
of course I'm
they
going to
had-
kill him. I'm Master Chief.
In the game, they were like fighting together later.
Well, the
on.
Arbiter is a title. It's not an actual character. And I don't think the Arbiter
Oh,
we're familiar with.
they're just getting another
Forrest
Arbiter that's going to be our
reiterates-
Arbiter.
Well, the Arbiter we're familiar with didn't show up until the end of till Halo 2.
right. Okay, I can.
So
So I
the
can
Arbiter
maybe.
that we know of could
Yeah,
still
he
show
wasn't
up.
there before Halo.
Right, and that
Non-tech Arbiter.
At least
And
that
then-
we that we heard about.
That would make Force happier about the Arbiter armor that we've seen so far these seasons.
Yeah, that he wasn't the real Arbiter.
The old school armor looks like looks like
The
it was made in the Middle
Arbiter armor.
Ages. It
For
can still turn invisible.
Arbiter armor.
for the super hardcore Halo fans out there who have been holding
I'll
off on
never
the
speak
whole
again.
series because they've heard a lot of the backlash, I want you to know that the Halo series officially starts season 2, episode 9, 31 minutes and 30 seconds in. That is when you get Master Chief in his
343
helmet
Guilty
on Halo. If that's
But
where you
with,
want to start,
But the showrunners had to be the showrunners, and he has a giant crack in his helmet, so we can
Dude,
see his eye the entire time.
how fucking genius. I've got this in my notes that I want to talk about. I have ragged on the writers for being dumb.
Can still get a bit of his face, but he's wearing his helmet.
But no, here's the thing: they cracked it. So you know how fucking dumb that looks. Like he's on the Halo now, so he can't just go get a new
where's he
Spartan
gonna get a
helmet.
new helmet?
So now
Duct tape.
he's
Damn it.
not using his helmet. He can't walk around with half an eye helmet. Like he's not a fucking pirate. He's not Master Chief, the
He
Spartan
needs
pirate.
a heads-up display.
Nope. This is a very clever way for them to get rid of the fucking helmet.
Chief Beard. that's his pirate name.
Touche,
Beard.
riders. I'm pissed about this, but game recognized game, you sons of bitches.
No pun intended.
They're gonna start calling him Master Queef.
They gave us
Chief
some
Beard
fight
or,
scenes there with his full armor.
That was cool.
So the very last scene showed 343 Guilty Spark. And since I'm a giant dumbass, I totally forgot that 343 Industries was named after 343 Guilty Spark. Like I didn't connect the dots until literally I saw this episode. I was like, wait, the name of the satellite or the monitors
The
Guilty
name
Spark.
of
What's that number again? 343?
doing all the math.
What a coincidence.
Well, congratulations on catching up. No worries. We've all had that moment. Yeah. Comment down below. Actually, when you, a relatable moment. I remember the first time, like Flow Rida had been big for like maybe 8-10 years, and then one day I saw it written down, and I was like, wait, that's just Florida with a dash in the middle, and like I was just mind blown. It took me so long to realize that. So comment down below if you've ever had like one of those moments where where you're just like, I was 0 years old when I discovered this incredibly inane human fact. Let's all get a little bit smarter together. And that might include a synopsis of X-Men. Do you guys want to move on to X-Men?
Did we do both episodes last week or just episode
No, just
one?
episode 1. So we can do X-Men episode 2 and 3.
With Magneto being
It does
make
get
me let you
interesting
down.
does get interesting with Magneto.
Now, Robbie, you had
Bro.
some hesitancy walking into this series, maybe. Did you not?
Yeah, I guess it was because I didn't watch a ton of X-Men. I just kind of watched it casually when it was on TV.
Growing up.
The entire series is on Disney.
Yeah,
Plus if you wanna
because
catch
growing up, I was honestly more into anime, and then I slowly started getting more into Marvel.
Ironically, the series was animated in Japan.
So is this anime then? No, because it's not a Japanese story.
Dude, the Avatar: Last Airbender fans, people will like destroy our.
Oh no, they already did. You can, we made a short about it. I clipped you, turned it into a
Oh,
short.
really?
Yeah, it's our most commented. Our most commented
yeah.
YouTube short is the discussion is
They
Avatar
started
and
having a
anime.
back and forth in it.
Let's just say it's a
Oh,
very
yeah.
mixed bag. I walked away
Uh-huh.
from the comments section having zero clue if it was an anime or not.
Yeah. So, yeah, all classic animated X-Men episodes are on Disney Plus. I've been rewatching them almost on season 1. It's still pretty good. Still holds up to this day. But this, I really like episode 3 more than the first 2. But let's get into the second episode, which was basically.
Yeah. We enter with a very pregnant Jean.
Yeah, because that was
How
one
pregnant?
reason I wasn't sure about, because I thought I'd be kind of lost, but I still knew the basics of the main character's story.
You've seen the X-Men
Mutants.
movies.
Mutants,
Yeah.
humans hate them. Some
Yeah,
mutants-
so
Is she, like, pregnant, like, 7 months?
I liked it pretty quickly. I
9
was
months.
getting into it,
10 months.
especially when Magneto
10
came in
months.
there.
Right? Exactly. Magneto is definitely the standout so far of this season.
The voice
You know who's
actor
not
good
is
Osborn.
Jubilee. She's crushing on a new mutant, DaCosta, which we later on find out has, I don't know, black hole powers or whatever. He's got
He
some
can
weird energy
control
powers with his
fire?
arm.
He's like the 18th other mutant who can control fire.
It's not very well described. I'm sure
It's
we'll
hard to
find
come up.
it.
It's hard to come up with different powers in X-Men. They've all been taken.
Which is
Great
fine.
responsibility is DaCosta. Great power.
Bash! Oh, look at that pun. I'll take it. I appreciate it. So Scott talks to the lady from the UN, Val Cooper, who's actually from the original series in the comics.
I think she's in the comics. I don't think she's in the original series, but
Okay.
I don't remember her. But she is like a character from the comics. She's sort of like a liaison between the government and mutants.
So Scott's worried that Master Mold made another factory. But
yes,
Val's like, no, we got rid of all of the Sentinels. And let's just fast forward to the end of that fight scene. They didn't get rid of jack shit.
Big old Sentinel arm.
There's 100 Sentinels. Yeah, they got attacked by. That's what set them off. Is they were attacked by a Sentinel arm.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gene wants
like rabbits.
Scott to lead the X-Men. Classic pregnant women. Am I right, dads? Comment down below. It's 100% correct. But I thought that was really well done. However, in the scene, they broke the portrait of
the original X-Men.
The original X-Men, and they didn't clean it up.
But then
they just
left it there. And I thought they were gonna pick that up right away. They go to a later scene.
At the very end, when
it was Magneto that picked it up, wasn't it?
Yeah, because apparently the frame is made out of metal.
Yeah, and as soon as he did that, I was like, "What? They didn't pick that up?" I was like,
that was my first thought too. That's
my
hilarious.
First thought.
That's so funny.
Who here's seen all the X-Men, the classic series? Matt, have you watched all of them?
Of course I have, actually.
Of course.
Grew up with that show.
I've watched random episodes.
Like after that show was off the air.
That's a good question.
Because I'm wondering if they can like do that character in this series, because we're getting Executioner, who was, I don't think in the original series, but was from the comics. They brought him in, and they're doing Cable's origin now, which was not in the original series. So I'm wondering if they're just going to keep incorporating stuff that hasn't been adapted yet, but has been in the comics. I'm hoping to see Bastion, if they're already like doing Sentinels again.
Well, I mean,
sort of like the
not to get too spoilery, but Mr. Sinister's coming. We've gotten Madeline Pryor coming. This is all from the comic books, right? So very cool stuff. Nathan,
I really liked how they got her name in there. Like you are Jean, I'm Madeline Pryor. It's just out of nowhere. Like, where'd you come up with that name?
It's just I like the name Madeline
and Pryor because of famous name Pryor.
Because of prior events. I like the past that I can't remember. I can't remember my prior events, but my name's Madeline. You know what? Yeah. They need to find a Bolivar Trask. Bolivar, probably the worst name of all time.
Damn it!
It's named after the South American revolutionary.
Oh, okay. Well, he had a terrible name.
Bolivar.
Oh, well, if you pronounce it like that. Bolivar. Oh, Bolivar Trask is a cool name. But Bolivar,
which is kind of weird.
Yeah, Bolivar is hilarious.
Oh, how did we... That new canon in Helldiver... Quasar.
Yeah, Quasar, guys.
Quasar canon.
I actually was using the Quasar cannon earlier, the Quasar laser, earlier today on Helldivers 2.
I think it's Quasar.
It is, but what we're trying to do
character.
is trying to change pronunciation and make it catch on. So, Helldivers... Assemble if you're out there.
Oh, and we might have a new listener that we randomly played with.
Oh yeah, he said he was
Nail Divers.
He said he was gonna check out the next podcast.
Just see Zeitgeist Zealots podcast. Your name in the game.
It's in the game. It's like, hey man, if you do something cool in the game, I might clip it, put it on YouTube. What's up?
So, is the whole point of Helldivers basically to extract resources from alien planets?
Yeah,
it's Avatar.
Yeah, we have a whole mission where we extract ore. We find ore veins and extract minerals.
Like the whole irony of the game is like,
which is just oil upside down.
710.
So
very
the
clever.
Executioner character right? He's basically like the Punisher for mutants. It seems.
Okay.
No, he's not. Though he's not. There's so much.
But he's not.
Yeah.
That's like saying
So,
Moon Knight's the
well-
Batman.
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah,
Matt,
what
how would you
exactly
describe
they do-
Execution?
So
What exactly do they do to him at the end there?
I
Oh,
hate to say it, guys, but
Huh?
this show is not good, and
Aww.
I want.
Yes,
I
it is,
really,
Matt.
really
What
want to
show is
love
it?
this show, but I really feel like they are exploiting your nostalgia, and I believe last episode we talked. Major was talking about how he was sitting there with his daughter and watching X-Men and hearing that theme song. You're like, yeah, right. So I watched the last 2 episodes with my son sitting in my lap, and he is really into it and he loves it. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not good. It's not.
I thought
It's
episode
so-
3 was better, though. I think this is
No,
where
it's
Soul's
not
Different
though.
Streak
It's
gets
not
better.
though.
And
It's-
see, Robbie
so
has no
it-
nostalgia, and Robbie likes
So-
it.
Yeah, I liked
So
it.
here's the
Interesting.
issue: is that the animated
Because Robbie's
animation
mentally
quality,
insane.
the animation quality is poor because they're using the excuse of, hey, let's make it like the 1990s, and it's just the voice
It's really
actors
weird.
who
Yeah.
I love, and they've got a lot of the original voice actors back,
Mhm.
but there's a difference between when you're a voice actor in 1996 versus 2024.
Right.
So
Yeah,
the
your
voice
voice is
acting is
Probably going to
sketch.
change. And
Yeah, it's sketch sometimes.
Well,
And the writing, especially in episode 3,
It's clunky.
They-
It gets clunkier.
so it's clunky. So the 2 issues I have are they're rushing the storyline. They're
Mhm.
definitely rushing it. They're trying to get you to from point A to Z by going A, B, C, Z instead of like actually going through the alphabet.
Oh, bummer.
And 2, it's just like
that was a lot thrown at, especially
Yeah, yeah.
Cyclops there. And,
That's the
Yeah.
Russian method.
but especially in episode
Ah!
3, the dialogue is fucking
That was good,
comically
too.
bad. The dialogue is comically bad,
Yes.
and I
Very.
want to love this show and I want to support the show, but episode two had me going, eh. And this is after
Well-
Rob made the comment about where did the Sentinel come from if he's attacking, if he's
if they're up in
attacking
a
them.
jet, like
Yeah,
where
yeah.
That's what
How
I
does
was
he
talking
come out?
about.
That's what
Yeah,
major-
there are
yeah, that was
thousands of
major.
thousands of feet in the air. Where is that Sentinel
Yeah.
coming from?
Yeah.
And if you look, he's already just half a Sentinel. He's not even a full Sentinel.
So I'm really frustrated because episode 3 is a great example of it. I really feel like they're rushing quickly to try to tell a story instead of actually developing everything and,
Letting the story tell itself.
yeah, exactly. And the issue I have is show, don't tell. And once again, episode 2, episode 3, same problem I had in episode 1. They're telling. They are, so my backstory is this. Did you know this? Did you know Bishop came from here? Hey, this, that,
Bishop
and the
is
other.
so-
you guys
Bishop is
mentioned
such
last-
a weird character because
Yeah, you
he's
said
like from the
last
21st
time.
century,
about
Yeah.
that.
but Cable's from like the 30th century.
Yep.
But Cable was
So-
taken from the 20th century to the 30th century, then back to the 21st century. I
You
don't
know,
know. It's,
Matt,
it's really
those-
weird.
That's the exact words I told my last date, by the way. It was show, don't tell.
Yeah.
Show,
from the
don't
30th.
tell. Yeah, show, don't tell. Don't say,
Don't say it's a penis. Just show me.
0.8 inches.
You Microsoft.
Show the 0.8. So apologize for that.
Well, you
But,
know what they did show was probably the cringiest, most awfulest 90s thing I could think of, and that was Jubilee dancing. When she fucking
First episode.
oh well, it
shooting fireworks and stuff.
scars
The
me.
fireworks in
Is that-
episode
is that-
2. No,
it's-
so it's fireworks.
It's episode 2. Yeah, she's on the dance floor. She puts on her dumb glasses, which is to protect her eyes, so she doesn't give a fuck about anyone else's eyes on the dance floor that she's about to blind. All right, cool,
So if it
whatever.
bli-
You're fucking
and so-
X-Men.
It
No,
blinds her, but
no.
whatever.
that's a great point, Major, because in the
Yeah, I
'90s,
did think of
in
that.
in the episode for the '90s, I never heard of Jubilee until the show, and I fell in love with Jubilee because of that show. And this
Yeah.
show is actually doing the exact opposite. I fucking can't stand her
Well,
now.
this is
Yeah.
And
basically
it's frustrating.
the show is basically just the the old saying, you can't get back your past. It was
Right.
never going to be as good as the original series.
Well. This show really shows you how they're exploiting your nostalgia. They're like, hey,
Yeah.
how can we get Gen X and Zennials and Millennials to watch our show? Hey,
Well, exploit me because I like it.
Well, Gen Z's like, I'm not watching.
Well,
Well,
there's
they're
a
not
way
trying to get
exploit, and then there's this
centennials,
shit.
Matt.
Yeah,
If
but dude, this is just like, it's so bad. It's like they're not even trying. They're just putting something out there, and especially like my biggest harp on this is the animation, the quality. Like, so if you watch the original X-Men series, the first 3 seasons are great. The fifth season, they like moved studios. The
Yeah,
fifth season
halfway
is like
through.
some of the worst animation. It's almost as if they copied the fifth season on purpose
Yeah.
instead of copying the first, second, or third season.
Or they
It's
only
called
watch this as
continuity.
inspiration.
Yeah, but no. Like, go back to the first 3 seasons where they actually had a good studio and they were really good instead of when they were trying to save money. And this whole series has been the fifth season, a copy of the fifth season. And I will just look at Magneto. Magneto's character, the way he's drawn, the way he walks, it's
Yay.
consistently
It's very gay.
just so fifth season. It's really
That-
bad. It's distracting.
You don't like his
That-
arm
that's
gloves,
bad.
Major?
Or his giant
Bad
3-foot
Magneto.
M? Hell
Well, that's apparently from
no.
the comics.
I
because people are-
don't adopt that. Don't. You don't have to adopt everything
Don't-
from the
don't
comics.
Don't even look at the costumes. Look at how they move.
Yes.
Look at
Oh yeah.
how look at how
Oh,
their powers
no
interact.
one is going to be in the comics like, what is Matt talking about? This animation is perfect. Like, no, everyone agrees with you. Now, was this on purpose? Was it purposely bad, or were they just like trying to copy? Like, did they just tell some team to copy the fifth season?
But this makes me wonder if what's his name when he got fired. When I heard the news, I was like,
Perdone.
oh my god, this is some bullshit. How dare he get fired? But now I'm starting to see some of the decisions that he made, and I'm like, maybe they were panicked and worried, and they did fire him for a reason, because of the decisions he was making. Because like I said, episode 1, I was like, meh. Episode 2, I was like, hold on a sec. And now after episode 3, I'm like, this is not good.
Okay.
Okay.
I think the
Matt.
That's not a bad. That's not a bad.
Determination
That's not a bad theory though. That's really not like get out ahead of time. And like for anyone, if there is backlash for this being really bad, they can like, look, guys, don't worry, we already fired the show writer. I can see that. That's a valid conspiracy theory.
Well, I mean, I think this third episode, the problems in the first episode is like the writing and just like making the characters that we used to like unlikable was still sort of there. But I like that they're doing at least Cable's origin story, because Cable has probably one of the most convoluted origins in comics.
Let's see if they can do it.
He's born in the present day, but he's brought to the 30th century, but then he travels back to not the present day, but like, when the X-Men were still a thing, and it's just like so confusing, and with Apocalypse. But at least I at least appreciate that comics and now TV, which are both long form storytelling forms, can at least do justice to Cable's story, because he just showed back up in the season 1 of
Deadpool
X-Men
2.
92, yeah, and you're like, who is this guy, and like, what's he doing in Genosha? But now the pieces are finally coming together, because they never established that he was Cyclops' son in the old show, but I think now they're finally fixing that problem. And I hope if they keep like adapting
Spoiler.
stuff from the comics that we haven't seen yet, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
You
Sorry,
didn't-
listeners.
His son's named Nathan.
Casually tossing that out there.
His son's
Just to
Nathan.
speak to
His son's name is Nathan. He didn't call him Nathan Cable Scott.
You don't know that Cable is Cyclops' son?
No, I'm not talking about me. I'm
No.
talking about the listener. This is
They
clearly
already know.
the listener. They already know. You know every listener.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. What I'm saying is this is a storyline they're going
Well, I
to do
didn't
this
watch the old 13.
season.
So, anyways, just to speak to what he's saying, though,
Everybody
what is
knows.
frustrating to me about this show is that I love where the storyline is going.
Yeah, me
I
too.
love
Yeah,
where
fuck you,
like,
Storm.
what they're developing. I just hate the dialogue, and I hate the animation, and I hate like everything
The
about
new
it.
voice actors.
I love so much the story they're telling, but how they're telling it is extremely frustrating.
I think
if
the
that
only
makes any
voice
sense.
actors came back are
Yeah.
Wolverine, Rogue, and Beast. And I think what's really weird is the voice actor for Gambit is different, but the original voice actor is voicing Cable later in the season.
Well, Jubilee
absolutely no sense.
decided, the original voice actor for Jubilee decided not to
She
come
wasn't
back
Asian.
because she wanted it to be played by an actual Asian character. To which I said, Jubilee's Asian? What? I had no
They
idea.
did not draw her very Asian.
They all look white on my screen, on my TV screen. I mean, not obviously.
I
not
think the
Storm, but-
animator didn't realize she was Asian when they
Oh my god.
originally drew her. But yeah, I think that
So X-Men
the
versus
original
Yeah.
the original voice actor for Cyclops died, I think. But what's even funnier is like all the original voice actors had to re-audition to get their roles back. The ones that did get the roles back
That's weird.
Damn.
Which season?
for this one.
Oh, they had to re-audition. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been 20 years. Do you guys even sound the same? You want 30 years of vaping can do to
They
somebody?
made such a big deal about the original voice actors coming back, and they're like, "Oh wait, they had to re-audition." Okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, good. I say good. I'm all for meritocracy. Re-audition for the role. I'm glad they got the original ones back. I'm glad you still sound like yourself. But if you didn't sound like yourself, then it would be weird to be like, "Oh, here's Cyclops," and Cyclops shows back up, and he just is like, "What's up?
Clark
Maybe
Kent.
you shouldn't smoke or hate mutants." That would be not great. Be like, "Oh, look, the original voice actor is back."
Can't. He's dead.
I don't know. That'd be kind of cool, I guess.
I guess that would be really cool then, wouldn't it? Yes, it would be really cool if the original voice actor for Scott came back. And he says in poor taste. But look,
God dang it.
Scott asked for the forecast, and then Storm
Good call.
shows up, and all the automatons, the Sentinels are like Omega level threat detected. Very cool. It's always good to hear the Omega level threat. And
Oh yeah,
then
Storm lost her mojo in the second episode from the
third
executioner.
Lost
third
my
episode.
mojo.
The second one.
Second
one.
episode.
Because she got hit by the rifle.
Executioner. That's good.
I might have
Executioner.
I might
He's
have
the
have
Punisher
these
for
notes
mutants.
all
Yeah, that was a
mislabeled.
little twist.
I
there.
think Executioner, Matt, was created during the Scott Lobdell run era, who was like I think frequently cited as the worst X-Men writer ever, or one of the worst.
It's some of the '90s bullshit that everybody tries to forget about.
Well, I think when Claremont left in the early '90s and like Scott Lobdell and like a few other writers took over, that's when it sort of just like got insane, just with like bizarre.
Yeah, that's when the Punisher starts like becoming way too ridiculous as well.
Punisher had like I think 4 ongoing. He was like the most popular character for Marvel in the '90s.
Abilities.
Yeah, like Punisher, Wolverine, and I think Ghost Rider were like the most popular characters, besides Spider-Man in the '90s.
Yep, 100%.
And I guess Cable too, just the more edgier ones.
Looks like Executioner came out in 1978.
No, Executioner, X-Cutioner,
Oh. Oh, okay.
because
Well,
there's Scourge the Executioner from Thor. Yeah, but this character I think.
Actually.
oh,
in the 90s.
1993. Okay. Uncanny X-Men Annual 17.
Oh, it came out in annual. Annuals are
The
just like,
Executioner remained a mysterious
ew,
vigilante
it's
who
like,
made its life mission to track down
Annuals
mutants.
are a
Annuals-
lot of
annuals- annuals are just like they have to like meet their printing quota, and annuals are usually like not even canon, or the stories aren't that important to like the main, story. But anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I mean, I like Mr. Sinister. They got
Yeah.
the original voice actor back for. He's sounded Sinister. So, but
Yeah,
he's like the one. He's like the one main X-Men villain that hasn't been in the movies yet, or the last major X-Men villain that hasn't shown. I guess besides the Shi'ar Empire.
they're trying.
Uh,
They're trying. Sony is. They want to bring in
They
the
don't.
Sinister Six, right? With Mr. Sinister, that's what they're supposed to be working on.
No, it's completely different.
No, is that a different Sinister?
Different franchise altogether. Like
Well,
one's Spider-Man, one's X-Men.
excuse me. Sorry, they're all owned by Marvel, and the licensing
That's
gets
Spider-Man.
really confusing.
No,
Spider-Man.
Mr.
Spider-Man's a
Sinister,
Marvel. Spider-Man's a Marvel character.
He's not owned by Marvel Studios or Disney. When you say Marvel these days,
Yes.
you're talking about the Disney-owned Marvel.
Right. However, well, I just said Marvel, and I believe they still own the comic book rights to Spider-Man. Right? They just can't make movies, and they can make or they can make films or shorts under 59 minutes. I think it's specific, right? But to be like Marvel can't touch Spider-Man or create any Spider-Man IP at all would just be, I believe, an
Well,
statement.
what's ironic is I don't even think Sony can make a Spider-Woman movie with like Jessica Drew, because I think
They would
there's
have
like
with
some
Madam
weird
Web.
litigation. There's some sort of they had to like keep some litigation thing. They couldn't even call her. They couldn't even use Jessica Drew in the movie because she's owned by Disney.
Interesting.
So they do like the second Spider-Woman. Yeah.
Okay.
So
But anyway,
Um,
so Magneto has the big save the cat moment at the beginning of X-Men episode 3, Mutant Liberation Begins.
you shack it up with Rogue. Yeah.
Well, no, that's not saving the cat. We can talk about
He's
him
saving the
shacking up.
Morlocks, right?
What?
The Morlocks. They're like the mutants who are like
Morlocks,
Oh, yeah.
too ugly to be around.
Uh-huh.
On the
He's got a good point. Why didn't Charles and the X-Men use their financial wealth to
if you-
ship the
no.
Morlocks over to
If you
Genosha?
if you watch the first season when they first encounter the Morlocks, Storm says, "Hey, do you want to come live in the mansion with us?" And they say, "No, our place is down here." So they offered. So that was like battling the writers for not paying attention to the continuity of the original episodes, which further proves Matt's point. They probably just watched the 5th season and adapted it from what their knowledge of that was,
100%.
rather than
Well,
because they literally
yeah.
offered the Morlocks to come live with them. They're like, "No, we belong in the sewers with the shit and the urine." Actual line, no.
Or maybe Magneto's just being a cunt there. Maybe it's being a little
Well, someone
feisty.
could have said. So Storm literally. I don't think was Storm there. She literally could have said like, "Listen, Magni."
Yeah, now that would have been good
I
writing.
offered them-
Yeah, that's
I
what
offered
Storm
the
should have
Morlocks a
said.
place up here, and they said no.
Yeah.
So,
But no, this save the
don't tell me
cat
my
moment
business.
is the Ferris wheel that breaks. And then Magneto just kind of flies in and saves the kid on the Ferris wheel and drops
Yes, a
down.
broken Ferris wheel, the most
Now-
overused action piece in every superhero movie ever.
While this is
Not
happening,
everyone.
That is very common.
It is used a lot.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good piece. What do you guys, quick, on the spot, do you think of a better save the cat moment? No, I'm kidding.
How about Drop Zone?
It was Drop
Drop it, I don't
Zone.
know.
When it Drop Zone? See,
was-
you get some
lot of
asshole in the
people-
comments be like, Drop Zone wasn't until 1999, and this is X-Men 97, so technically
Well-
they wouldn't have Drop Zone to be able to
Actually,
save.
Drop Zone was around in '97 at Carowinds. I wrote it
Yeah.
when I was like 6.
At
Yeah.
6, yeah. I'm not gonna trust your 6-year-old memory. I'm gonna need to see pictures.
Drop
I
Zone was
will.
there though. Look how long Drop Zone's been in the Carowinds.
I
It's gotta
will.
be at least.
But speaking
397.
of, ironically, speaking of things that aren't there anymore, and Matt, this will probably help you feel better. Is I couldn't help but notice the executive producers' names flash up on the screen while the Ferris wheel is being saved. So we have Bo DeMayo, who is fired. And then followed immediately after is Victoria Alonso, fired.
Oh.
Yeah.
According
Ooh.
to Grok, the Drop Tower thrill ride at Carowinds in Charlotte was made in 1996.
Gah!
27.
The horror.
So
Son of a
they could use that. So Bo DeMayo, shame on you for not using drop zone instead of using a Ferris wheel instead. Shame on you, Bo DeMayo.
Fart zone.
Not everyone's
So-
fired, of
My ba-
course,
my-
right?
my basic
There's
point is-
Luis D'Esposito, who's also an executive producer, but he's also the co-president of Marvel, so he's probably not going to be fired. Brad Windenbaum, who's the head of streaming, probably not going to be fired either. And then Kevin Feige, right? So obviously not going to be fired.
Might
But it
as well
looks like-
fire him though.
I mean, his head is you can feel it's on the chopping block, but you're not firing him yet for that, and you're not firing him for this. But so like
what
the
was Matt's
people,
point?
the only people who could have been fired from this TV show were fired from this TV show. That's something just to keep in mind, right? They're not going to fire the head of writer, the head streaming, the head content creator, right? But everyone who wasn't the head, gone from the show.
Henry VIII.
So no,
Forced.
it goes back to my main point is we have to admit that this show is not good. It's not. I love where
How
the
come?
story
Oh,
is
you already
going, but
The story
It's-
itself, but not how it looks.
the story itself, but how they're telling it, and the dialogue, especially the animation quality, just everything about the show is
Yeah,
bad.
because I
was
do
sitting
like
there,
the story itself.
Yep.
And what
like the story they're
Well-
trying to tell is
Yeah.
great. So if you take this wide lens
this 90s look
zoom
on
all
it.
the way out,
Well, let's
It's
talk about
great.
it. Let's
but
just.
if you actually
What is
watch
the story?
like everything,
Let's tell the story that they're trying to tell. What's happening here, Gene? Matt,
So
you want to take it away from
basically-
us?
So basically, the idea of Professor X, he wanted to, unite humans and mutants together, where they lived in harmony. It's this very Martin Luther kind of story where, we all live in peace together. And Magneto in the past has been a very, this will never happen. We need to conquer humans and show them their true, worth. And now
He's been
we're
a
trying to
wanker.
turn that on its head. Yeah, we're going to turn it on its head and basically force Magneto to accept this, but does he really accept it? So just this idea of like mutants and humans living in harmony when they really can't live in harmony. It's kind of the storyline that we're going with. And
Mhm.
it's really intriguing and it's really interesting because you see the parallels in history, with even to this day with like the Black Lives Matter movement, but especially during the civil rights movement when this is being written. It's very intriguing and I love it. And I want to see how it's told through this, fictional story.
Well,
But
apparently,
how they're doing it is so maddening.
Inferno actually was a crossover event with Madeline Pryor becoming the Goblin Queen. So they're definitely, I guess, keeping the trend from the original series of directly adapting storylines from the comics.
So
Which
So
Yeah,
they're
I do like.
that's the
Yeah.
other part too is they're being really, really good about following the comics themselves.
Mhm.
And
Or
you
the
know
original
me,
series, yeah.
like I'm always harping on, well, in comic 32 episode whatever, they didn't follow that.
Right.
So I love what they're trying to do, but
You just don't like the execution.
still, like it is. I was sitting there watching it with my son, who is really into it, and he's asking about all the characters, and like that's Gambit, that's Bishop, that's this guy.
What, he
But
hasn't
I'm
watched
sitting
the he hasn't watched
like I
the
love
intro?
it. Yeah. Oh no, he heard that intro and he got really into it and he loved it, and that's why he started watching it with me. It was just because of the intro.
It
But
slaps.
at the same time, too,
Yeah.
yeah, that dialogue and the animation quality and everything else is just like, it's so maddening. I don't know how else to say it. It's just maddening.
So I think you bring up a really good point about how with the civil rights movement, you've got this beautiful story told between two friends, right? Who are fun, like one ultimately the same thing, but have different ideas of how to get to it, right? You've got Charles Xavier, who
It's
wants
the
the
Malcolm
humans.
X versus
It's Malcolm
Martin
X
Luther
and
King
Martin Luther
story.
King Jr. Absolutely, and that's what it is. And I think we'd all be best to be reminded of a quote from our friend Mark Twain, that the only safe and sure way to destroy an enemy is to make him a friend. And that's what they're trying to do. The X-Men are trying to do here with Magneto, right? And that's what Charles has always been trying to do.
And why he could have snapped on those people at the end there.
Oh, he wanted to. I would have called for it.
Scare the shit out of him to set him free there. Huh?
But also, they didn't shoot Storm, right? It was just another human. You can't blame all humans. Especially not these friends of humanity. What a crock of shit.
Who's controlling the Friends of Humanity too? Because there have been a few comic storylines in which
the FBI.
No, I'm just saying. We don't know where the story's going, but it could be proven that Magneto was manipulating this the whole time.
Ooh, well, I hope that's not a spoiler.
New. It might not be a spoiler. So.
I like the theory, right? Magneto could just be doing this, right? He could be playing both sides at the same time. Don't act like we haven't been played before with Palpatine and Emperor
Palpitating heart.
Yeah. So I will go back. I forget which X-Men movie it was when they showed the origins of Magneto, in which he's in a concentration camp and he's a kid being led into the camp, and that's when he discovers his powers and escapes. So Magneto knows where this is all going, and he will do anything to escape. And
First
so
class.
sometimes pretending to be a friend and being on the side of the government might work for him, just so that mutants survive. And that's why I love this storyline with the X-Men. Is it's very subtle at times and it's very nuanced at times. Where what is his true intentions versus how does he get to what he wants?
Yeah.
Oh, could they use Jean to check Magneto for his intentions?
Because he did seem to change over pretty easily. But then I thought he was about to just. He was just back to him.
He got so angry and came around full circle and was in a good mood again.
Because Magneto's origin story is, he's a Jew during the Holocaust, and he will do what is needed to survive. And in this storyline, sometimes, joining with the government that hates you to try to change face, pretend like you're a friend, might move his movement along much more than being an antagonist.
Can I take a second to actually agree with Matt for about the writing on this? Because I thought it was a coward's move, Bo DeMeo, who's no longer writing, so I guess it doesn't matter, right? But a coward's move when Magneto is addressing the UN, and he refers to his Jewish heritage instead by referring to surviving the Holocaust and all that trauma, right? As just being hunted down by savages for believing in a different God, which isn't even fucking true. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are all Abrahamic religions. They all worship the same God. They've got nuances on the prophets and the sons and the messiahs and the stuff like that, right? But it's all the same fucking God. And Magneto is, as a character in canon, is smart enough to fucking know that, okay? And then just a coward's move by the writers to not have Magneto call out his actual Jewish heritage, but instead to just refer to her or infer it by being hunted down by savages. Don't gloss over it.
I'm super,
they didn't
super
really
frustrated about that.
go into that.
A big point of who he is. And
they just made it a general description of what happened.
I remember when I was really getting into the comics in the 90s, that was a big...
That's a big part of his history there.
I was reading the comics, I'm like, Magneto's right. but the way he goes about it is wrong, and that was just so,
That's the point. That's the beauty.
ambiguousness of it, the gray area there. It's like, do I agree with Professor X or do I agree with Magneto?
Yeah, that did.
And then when you give them
it
cool
made you
characters,
connect in a way of both sides,
exactly,
and who's
that
doing
gray
it
area,
the right way.
that ambiguousness, and that's why I fell in love with the X-Men in the '90s, was because there
Mhm.
was this kind of like moral gray area, and there were times when Professor X, what he's doing is very, acidic. It's very,
Well,
fascist.
he
It's
apparently
very,
had the
like,
hots for
is he
Jean when
right?
he was a kid, and she was still a kid, underage.
Yeah. But like,
That's all
what
messed up.
Professor X doing right, just because I agree with his where he's going with, the way he does it sometimes is very, kind of fascist. So
Yes.
there's this great, moral gray area in the '90s and early aughts with the X-Men comics. And so once again, love the story, and I feel like they're trying to tell the same story, but I'm watching in episode 3. The dialogue's horrible.
All
The
right.
plot is rushed.
I'm changing your mind. I'm gonna change your mind right
it's
here.
frustrating.
Are you ready for it? I'm gonna open your mind, Matthew. I'm gonna tell you right now about this excellent writing. Right, but there is clinky dialogue, blah blah blah. Yes, but there is good writing. And I'm gonna tell you about the scene that I want to talk about. With Jean packing up her stuff because she's worried she wants to leave, and she's talking to Storm, and she shares her worries that the baby is gonna be born a mutant. Right, and if the baby's born a mutant, then they're gonna have to face all the bullying that Jean and Scott faced. And Storm's like, "Oh, I couldn't even imagine not having my mutant powers and being a human."
And then bam.
Foreshadowing. That's good writing because in context, it flows. The conversation flows so naturally because Jean's or Scott. And then later on, it's like, bitch. You thought you couldn't. I couldn't even imagine without my mutant powers. I couldn't imagine being such a human, bitch. Now you're a human drinking beer at a biker's bar. Yep, exactly. So Matt, I present to you this evidence of a glimmer of good writing and the evidence of foreshadowing.
This kind of points out to what I'm trying to say too. Is I love the storyline. I love where it's going. And from the big picture, it's great. But when you really focus on the small things, that's where it's becoming frustrating.
I'm interested to see how the Forge, because I don't think Forge was in the original series, was he?
Forge is in there, and I want Forge to be in these series.
Okay, he was in the animated series. Okay. Oh, he's leader of X. He's like one episode, I think.
He's X Factor. He's in several episodes. He's in like 3 different episodes of the original series.
Nice.
Okay. So aren't he and like Storm and Item, or is that just aren't they like boyfriend girlfriend in the comics?
You know what?
Oh, speaking of Force, wait, do you have a girlfriend?
No.
This week on OnlyFarmers.com, we're highlighting Forrest. Cousins only. I mean, whatever you're into. Well, whoever gets the clicks.
It's a very redneck centric dating app. It's not a dating app. It's like a.
Wait, no, I thought Force.
You know who doesn't need a dating app is Rogue and Magneto. Now, Matt, you comic book loving son of a bitch, you gotta have feelings about this. This is an adaptation right here that we haven't seen on the silver screen, but we have seen in the comic books.
All that training time they're getting together.
Well, I love it. Because
testing their stamina.
Ooh. Oh,
they're playing.
With Morph.
That was what Morph said.
Calm down, Robin.
No, that was an actual line.
No. I love it because consistently through the movies and the animated series, they've always highlighted the Gambit Rogue, and I love how they're playing the
love triangle
Rogue Magneto versus Gambit,
because
and they're not
because the Jean Wolverine Cyclops has been played out, so they need like another one.
Right. Well,
But now
maybe
they can-
Gambit
But
would have a
no,
chance with the ladies
no,
if he
no,
didn't talk
no,
in the
so-
third person.
I really like it though because, Gambit and Rogue were really highlighted in the original few seasons
Uh-huh.
of this show, and the fact that they're introducing Magneto now, and in the comic books at least, there is that relationship. So I like how they're trying to play the comics off of the original show. So once again, broad picture, this is good, but
And
if
it's
you look
something
at the
with
small details,
Magneto's.
it's many.
It's something with Magneto's powers that allows him to touch
His
her.
his
Isn't that
sexual
what-
magnetism, his sexual magnetism, his machismo.
I think he's
I
just
don't
too
really
powerful,
understand how it
right?
works.
He's just so strong. His skin creates a thin shield right above his skin, so it looks like they're touching, but they're not actually touching. Magneto points out in
I'm
the
actually
UN
really
conference-
curious as to see how they explain this in the show, which they won't. But
They just show a little
Maybe,
spark before she touches him.
yeah, and it's super nerdy to be like, how do they actually explain this? He hits. His,
How do they fuck?
third rib
That's not
bone.
nerdy at all.
He hits his third rib bone twice, yet it produces a different sound. That's the type of nerdom we're getting into. But I'm actually like,
He's more of a Han
they
shot
explain
first.
this?
Well, I'm sure
That's
the
hysterical.
answers will be revealed in future episodes. But I think we've pretty much covered everything we can in these 2 episodes. Unless did we miss anything?
Just Magneto points out how the oppressed become the oppressors. I thought that was pretty based.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had some good points. Let's see. He talks about how the humans created robots to hunt the mutants, and they created callers to take their place. So, is that protection, as the council members proclaimed, or is that extinction? Right? What do you guys think? Are they creating this? Did they create the Sentinels and the callers to protect themselves from the mutants? Or do they create
that
them
is
to
what makes
control
it good
the
because you
mutants?
can really see where each side's coming from.
Yeah, because there's good and bad people, there's good bad mutants. Like that's the whole
Right.
thing, right? And we just need to be better as a people, right? Because like for instance, they're mostly peaceful protests, right? But keyword mostly because they breached the barricades, right? And this radical with this wild gun and crazy costume takes a shot at Magneto, and Storm gets in the way. Now, yes, Matt,
Yeah, and
we'll talk
he
about.
mentioned before he only gets one shot.
We can talk about bad.
That sounds like a social commentary right there.
We can talk about bad writing with the fact that Storm, an Omega level mutant with the power of Storm, could just use wind to blow that sniper rifle off target.
Of course.
Right? Like the
It
barrel
was a fast situation. You just gotta dive in there.
So you just gotta dive in. Right? Oh, if it's a fast situation, then maybe strike him down with lightning. That's the problem when you have an Omega level mutant.
right through the roof of that building.
Right through the. All right, good touche, Falco. Good point.
Omega
Yeah.
level
So
mutant.
she dives in front.
Major,
and
what you're describing is the Superman effect, where
Okay.
you've created this being that is so powerful. You have to find a way to describe them in a situation where they're not powerful, and
Right.
it just doesn't come off realistically.
Not just the Superman
And-
effect. This is full on the Xavier effect, right? Because Charles Xavier, Forrest will notice this when he while he's rewatching the series, but Xavier's not in X-Men, the animated series, because he's too powerful. So like every 5 to 10 episodes, he just gets knocked out, or he gets depowered for some reason. He wants to walk.
Cerebro.
Yeah,
takes
Cerebro's
over.
down.
They gotta keep limiting him because he's just so damn powerful.
Exactly, because if he was around, he's Gandalf. If he's around, he could just solve all of their problems.
Well, it's like Miss Marvel and Marvel. She's got to be off on another part of the galaxy. because
Exactly.
she's
Mhm.
Just
Now
so damn
that's a
powerful.
bad Superman. But that's
Yeah.
I think that's the
Strong.
episode.
Lot to look forward to in these upcoming episodes. So, but Mary, do you want to plug our social media?
Oh, yes, sir, I do, guys. YouTube channel's doing great. Make sure to check us out, Zeitgeist Zealots on YouTube. We're also on X, the social media site formerly known as Twitter, at Z Zealots Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok if that hasn't been banned yet. At Zeitgeist Zealots. We really, really appreciate you guys listening, especially if you're here for the whole episode. Fuck yeah. Thank you so much. Let us know down in the comment section below.
Good size episode.
Oh man, yeah. This is a good episode for a road trip, a long drive, or just anyone who has to drive to and from work, I guess. So awesome, cool.
Hope we can help your commute less agonizing.
Yeah, who's right?
Yeah.
Is Matt right? Is this bad writing? Am I blinded by nostalgia? Because I know I'm not, because Robbie likes it, right? And Robbie's aware of bad writing. Robbie's been on the podcast for 135 episodes. He sat through all the bad writing. He could smell bad writing a mile away. Yeah. So, Matt, let us know down in the comment section below.
I was less critical on all the shows we watched.
Matt is never right.
Matt's always right.
Yeah.
Don't
changes his
let your wife convince you of that, okay? I know she says it every day, but just because she says it every day doesn't mean it's true. What is true is hitting that like button, subscribing, leaving a comment. Does wonders for the channel. It really helps other people find the podcast. So if you enjoy it and you want other people to enjoy it, please do that. We really appreciate it if you think we earned it. Love you guys.
I'm Forrest.
Major.
I'm Robbie.
I'm Tip.
When do I say Matt?
Now.
3, 2, 1.
Matt.
Matt.
Yeah. Thanks for
About
listening.
just
Sorry, I had to
the
unmute myself.
right in the
I had to unmute
intro.
myself.
Damn it.
3, 2, Matt.
That was so funny.
It was so unexpected. That's what.